We'll call this regular city council meeting to order on April 15th, 2024 at 6:01 PM. Roll call, please.
Mr. Eimer,
Present.
Mr. Bateman,
Present.
Mr. Sanders,
Present.
Mrs. McClellan,
Present.
Mr. Parrott,
Present.
Mr. Downs, Mrs. Ross,
Present.
Mrs. O'Donoghue.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first up is public participation. I see nobody in the room other than council members and department heads, so no public participation this evening. We'll start with item number 5. The consent agenda consists of 5A, payment of bills, 5B, approval of minutes, March 4th, 2024, regular city council meeting, March 12th, 2024, committee of the whole meeting, March 18th, 2024, regular city council meeting, and 5C, approval of request from Lincoln Community High School to close various city streets for the Lincoln Community High School Senior Parade on Saturday, May 4th, 2024, from 5 p.m. until its conclusion, and to provide police escort. And 5D, approval of request from the Lincoln Park District to close various city streets for the 5K run on Saturday, August 24th, 2024, from 5 a.m. until 9:30 p.m.
Oh, that's supposed to be
I was gonna wait until they, yeah. Is there a motion?
Second.
Alderwoman O'Donoghue made the motion, Alderman Downs second. The agenda item should read until 9:30 a.m., so we'll have to do an amended motion. Will someone make a motion to amend
Yeah,
the
I
times?
make a motion to amend item D to 9:30 a.m.
Second.
Downs made the amended motion, Alderman Parrott second. Discussion on the amended motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Parrott,
Yes.
Mr. Downs.
Yes.
Mrs. Ross,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue,
Yes.
Mr. Eimer,
Yes.
Mr. Bateman,
Yes.
Mr. Sanders,
Yes.
Mrs. McClellan.
Yes.
Okay, any discussion on item 5 as amended? Roll call on item 5 as amended, please.
Mr. Downs,
Yes.
Mrs. Ross,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue,
Yes.
Mr. Eimer,
Yes.
Mr. Bateman,
Yes.
Mr. Sanders,
Yes.
Mrs. McClellan,
Yes.
Mr. Parrott.
Yes.
Next up is item 6A, resolution approving the content of certain executive session meeting minutes of the City Council of the City of Lincoln.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderwoman Rolfs made the motion, Alderman Sanders second. Discussion? And do you have all of your thumb drives?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. If there's no other discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Sanders,
Yes.
Mrs. McClellan,
Yes.
Mr. Parrott,
Yes.
Mr. Downs,
Yes.
Mrs. Ross,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue,
Yes.
Mr. Eimer,
Yes.
Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Next item is 6B, resolution authorizing the mayor to approve an intergovernmental agreement regarding maintenance of city parks between the Lincoln Park District and the City of Lincoln.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderwoman O'Donoghue made the motion, Alderman Sanders second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Sanders,
Yes.
Mrs. McClellan,
Yes.
Mr. Parrott,
Yes.
Mr. Downs,
Yes.
Mrs. Ross,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue,
Yes.
Mr. Eimer,
Yes.
Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Okay, that brings us down to item 8A, City Treasurer's Report for March 2024. Treasurer Conzo.
Thank you, Mayor. You've all received copies of this report. First thing I would point out to you there is if you look at the general fund balance as of the end of March, it's down a little bit from where we were in the previous month at the end of February. We don't like to see that, but it's not unusual as we get toward the end of the fiscal year, as we start to pay off a lot of bills, a lot of things that come due at the end of the year, and things that were budgeted for but may not yet have been paid for until the end of the year. So you'll see that again, I expect, with the report for the month of April. Look down at the table of tax receipts there. You see some of these now are the end of last year, and we get to the attachments, I'll talk more about that. You start to see the first cannabis sales tax for a full month there, $6,339. I don't know if that's indicative of what we'll see. And it's not reflected in this report, we did receive the payment during the month of April for January, and it was about $5,900 and some dollars, so it was down from what it was in December. I have no idea why. But in any event, that's what it is. Police pension fund, fire pension fund, you see there, we don't have them for the end of March yet for the consolidated fund, the IPO, PIF. But you see there in February, there was an increase in that, which is good to see because we had seen some decline in that over the past several months. Fire pension fund, they didn't do as well for February. Again, we've just got the reports through February. They lost about $8,000 there in the IFPIF, the Consolidated Fire Pension Fund. Moving on to the attachments, I would point out, if you look at, well, we'll start with the municipal sales tax report. You see there this is the liability month of December, which would have been received in the month of March, $381,000, and it's down a little bit from where it was last year, down actually about $30,000. And I thought I didn't expect that because the trend has been upward throughout the year. But then so I thought, well, maybe something didn't get vouchered or processed. Sometimes the Department of Revenue is a little slow at processing things, which is why we just received the December proceeds in March. But so I looked at January, which we've since received since this report is, as you all know, is through the end of the month of March. Well, in April we received a check for the January sales tax and use tax proceeds, and it was $326,713. So it was, $40,000 more than what we received a year ago in January. I suspect that what happened there is some things didn't get processed in a timely manner, and as such, they weren't vouchered when we would have liked to have been. Same thing with the non-home rule sales tax. You see that fell off quite a bit. If you look at that, it's even worse, about $31,000. But then if you look at what we got in January for the month of April, it was $84,698. So it was up about $10,000 there. We'll see how those trends go over the next few months. Income tax, you see that was up. It was up again in the check we just received for March. You see that's been trending upward. And motor fuel is pretty much flat, and I'm concerned about that going down as price of gas goes up, because generally when the price of gas goes up, people can afford less travel, and when they travel less, they buy less gasoline, and that's just how it is. We've seen that correlation over many years, and I wouldn't expect this to change much, and that is a concern because that is a important revenue source for us, so we'll see what happens. Video gaming, you see there we're down a little bit for February. That tends to go up and down. It'll average right about 40,000 plus for the year. And that is all that I have, unless there are questions pertaining to this report.
Yeah, just a quick question, because it seems like there's a taste, an appetite with some federal legislators and even the current presidency in regards to getting rid of fossil fuels and mileage. If we go electric, what are they going to do for this? What's the replacement? Are they talking about that at all?
They may be talking about it. They haven't really done anything. I don't know that there is going to be any replacement. I would expect they will have to come up with something, but that is a concern. Yeah. Now, I don't think, and I hope that they never are able to get us away from fossil fuels. But in the event that happens, that's one of the problems it's going to create, and there are of course many more. But it's a problem that doesn't really have a solution at this point.
Thank you.
Alderman Bateman.
I don't know where the money breaks down, Steve, but electric vehicle has a much higher registration fee and license fee. And That was, we were told that was to compensate for the motor fuel tax, but I don't know, I mean, registration fee and license fee goes into a different fund than motor fuel tax, so someone would have to get a hold of somebody at the state and say, how are you distributing this money as things go further? But to buy an all-electric vehicle, you're gonna pay more for license plates and more for registration.
And more for the vehicle. No? No, come down.
They're sending out new window stickers. Some of them we've gotten in that the window sticker's actually $10,000 less than the previous window sticker.
And
That could be a good sign for motor fuel tax.
that licensing fee, you know, as Alderman Bateman pointed out, would be higher, but I don't know. It's possible, I can't imagine a scenario where that would offset, you know, driving and filling up the car, you know, week after week, month after month, and paying that tax. So, I don't know. I don't think that may be part of a solution, but I don't think it's gonna be enough of a solution. Not to mention the other problems that's gonna cause. Like the weight of the vehicle on the roadway, which the roadway's already deteriorating. You add that to it.
Putting them out if they catch on fire,
Yeah, there's that too.
batteries.
Stand back and watch them burn.
And they want to
Base.
have electric school buses, isn't that unbelievable?
Wonderful idea.
Yeah, it's Kamala's idea.
Okay. Any other questions for the treasurer? Okay, thank you, Mr. Conzo. Next up is item 8B, City Clerk's Report for March 2024.
In the month of March, we received $393,152.56 for sewer receipts, which we did in that amount. We received money from both prisons in the amount of $41,346.64.
Questions for the city clerk? Okay, thank you, Ms. Bateman. And the last item is 8C, Department Head Reports for March 2024. They are either on file already on the city website or will be shortly. Okay, moving down to item 9A, approval of mayoral proclamation for the 2024 Arbor Day celebration.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Alderman Downs made the motion, Alderwoman O'Donohue second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Yes.
Mr. Eimer?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McClellan?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Next item is 9B, approval of the purchase of replacement bearing and seals from Jim Myers and Sons Grit Classifier Repair Parts in an amount not to exceed $7,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderwoman Rolfs made the motion, Alderwoman McClellan second. Discussion? Alderman
This is
Eimer.
down sewage plant, obviously, right?
Yes.
Andrew, can you give a little detail what's going on with this?
Yeah, this would be, excuse me, a seal and a bearing that have gone out on the grit classifier. I am requesting the purchase of two. One bearing, one seal will be installed to where the failed ones are, and one of the other each will be put on the shelf for when the next bearing and seal fail.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. McClellan?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Yes.
Mr. Eimer?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Okay, next item up is 9C, approval of the replacement of industrial methane and hydrogen sulfide sensors and meters from Corotech CT Industrial Products in an amount not to exceed $9,887.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderwoman O'Donohue made the motion, Alderman Bateman second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McClellan?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Yes.
Mr. Eimer?
Yes.
Okay, that brings us down to announcements. The only announcement that I have is there will be a ribbon cut that the council is invited to to J&M Meat Market on Saturday, the 20th at 10 a.m. So if you can be present for that, please do so. Any other announcements? Alderman Eimer?
I was gonna ask Andrew, did you get a chance to get any information from that, company for the, manhole, Mr. Manhole, by chance?
No, they have not reached back out.
Can you, email me that address and phone number to them, and maybe I can reach out to them to see if they can give us a demonstration of that? Would that be possible?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And I do have one more ribbon cut that'll happen before our next council meeting. There will be a ribbon cut for the Lincoln Land CEO Trade Show on Tuesday, April 23rd at 4:30 p.m., and that is at the American Legion. So if you haven't been to one of these, they're really good programs to go to. We support those through a sponsorship, the CEO program. So if you can attend, I'm sure those young entrepreneurs would appreciate it. Okay, any other announcements? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Alderman Downs made the motion, Alderman Eimer second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The meeting is adjourned at 6:17 p.m.